Hello there, I'm streaming. I'm going to be trying out some streaming on YouTube. What I'm going to be doing today is doing a sketch of an image I've got in mind for my role-playing campaign setting, Swamp of Souls. And the scene is going to be set in the swamp, ghost elf, stuck up a tree, got a spear, fighting off a giant crocodile that he's been hunting, got a bit too big for his boots, and can't handle this thing. And then the party has to decide, do we help this ghost elf? And then they form an alliance, hopefully with ghost elves, and learn to travel and survive in the swamp. So yeah, today what I'm going to do is block out the sketch idea I've got in my head, and that might be enough, but if not, I'm ready to go into Blender and even block out the scene a little so I can play with the composition, play with the angles, add in some lights, start to get a better idea of what I want. So yeah, sketch first, and this is my basic idea. We've got to move stuff around, give me some room. I believe we are underway. Yeah, so I've been trying to stream on Twitch. Putting stuff through there, but it's a tough road. I was thinking, how do I get my YouTube audience across to Twitch? And then I was like, hang on, I can stream on YouTube, and maybe I'll be able to connect with my audience that way. So this is a test run. And try it out. Still figuring things out. Tried out that opening screen that you maybe saw. That was a bit of animation I did in After Effects with the Murmuring Man, which was an adventure I'd just put together on YouTube a few days ago. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. Yeah, so this is the idea. This is going to be a half-shattered tree, right? It's already too high up. Sitting down here, the party might be seeing this, through a darkened clearing in the front. So you could even put maybe something big in the front here, just as you pushed aside some reeds or brush or something. You see the scene. What do you see? See a ghost elf up a tree. Now this, in my world, is a very reclusive race that lives in the swamp. And doesn't really deal with anyone else in the swamp. The heron folk or the people of dusk. See, they used to live in the old swamp before it got fully corrupted. They were almost protectors. They had shaman and whatnot living in that old swamp. But when it became this corrupted, evil place, they've moved out. There was a mass migration. Now some of them stayed behind to try carry on the fight against this corruption. Spoiler alert, they all lost and became part of the corruption. They became these terrible creatures known as sorrow keepers. But the ones that moved and went to the young swamp, they're starting to still carve out a life in the swamp, still keep their traditions. One of them is crocodile hunting. Young men usually grow up into a team. Some are spear people. Some help trap the crocs. Yeah, there was a video. Lena's done a lot of work on the ghost elf. So yeah, I basically thought it's time we started figuring out how to incorporate them into the adventure. And the idea is this might be a way of meeting one of them and potentially helping them. This is a young man who wants to prove himself as a great croc hunter. So he went after old, I don't know what I'm going to call this giant croc. old Shagu. Well, Shamu was a killer whale that I saw at SeaWorld when I was a kid. Pretty sure he's still not going. Something like that. So he's tried to stab this creature, to hunt this great old croc. I'll probably have a few little spears sticking out of him, just to show, you know, a spear here and a spear here, just to show that this ghost elf has engaged with him. And this is going to be the tricky part. How do I incorporate this giant attacking crocodile into this scene? He's going to be big, and already this is a very lame looking pose from this guy. So let's not count this as Matt's final attempt at a giant crocodile. And that's why I'm almost thinking I'm going to want to go into 3D to get scales right. Because it looks pretty easy at the moment for this guy to get him. He's got him already. End of the adventure. You guys were too slow. So what's the best way? The best way is to have the tree bigger, the ghost elf smaller. So, and what I want is, because the ghost elves are really pale, they're almost like ethereal looking elves. So I want them to, he's going to be the brightest thing on here, the white of his skin against the gloomy background. So he doesn't need to be huge, but I do want to catch that pale skin. And then we can make this tree, it's pretty thick, looks a little, so I'm going to, going to warp it. Unfortunately, I put the tree on the land, so I've got all of that together. But maybe this, well, it's not getting better, but that's all right, because I haven't really got him in the rule of thirds. He's too far up here. You're going to lose him in the top of the screen. So we'll grab both of them, bring him in. Could have him rule of thirds, which is, you know, most artists know it, but if you're a non-artist, rule of thirds is you divide your image up into thirds, and that's where you can put all the interesting things, because the eye tends to sit there. Whoops. So you can have that. I think this is about a third. There. Whoa. Same again over here. Whoa. And whoa. Yeah, so if that was an exact measurement, I'd probably want him almost there, you know. And then I'd want the crocodile maybe more here. And I'm going to get rid of these because they're getting in the way. Or I could have him so reared up that he's almost like this, folks. You know, he might almost be, but it still again looks too easy to and it's all very flat at the moment, isn't it? Very side on. Which is why I'm thinking I want to go into 3D to solve some of these problems I prophetically saw myself having. So, Blender, free software. Self-taught on it. I only use it for very basic stuff. I used to be a 3D artist and learnt Maya. But Maya costs a lot of money. So instead, I went to Blender and said, I'm going to learn this. And it was fairly intuitive. It's got a lot of different things to Maya. But now I remember more about this than I do about Maya. And my secret when concepting using this is to do as little detail as possible so that you actually paint in all the detail and it looks like a non-3D image. Whereas if you go for, say, a really good sculpt and a proper crocodile model and get an actual person model and pose them and put them up here, your whole image is going to look a little 3D no matter what you do. So I like to just block it out with shapes just so I can figure out that composition, you know. So now I have to make a little man, and I'm going to make him out of cylinders. Mesh, cylinder. That's his head. Oops. That's going to be his body. I don't want too many cylinders because then I have to start parenting them to each other. And what's usually best is to have made a human out of these already, maybe rigged so you can pose them, try them in different poses. And you can just bring them into your scene, pose them, set up some lights. But again, kind of like doing things from scratch so you don't get, because like if you keep using the same model, it's gonna, your person in your image is gonna look pretty samey each time. That's the theory anyway. Okay, so this is Alpha up a tree. He's backed up all the way here. Now this might already be better than what I had. Well, it was pretty good. I was worried he might have become too much part of the tree, whereas this separates him, puts him on top of the tree. Let's angle his head heroically. It's a heroic angle right there. I'm going to grab these for his arms. At the moment I've got him using a spear, so we'll still keep that. Again, I'm not going for too anatomically correct or anything. This is just so I can figure out the composition of this. Because, you know, it might be a cooler shot like this, you know, with the big mouth of the crocodile coming up. The reason I went with this guy is I was more thinking, this is what the party's going to see when they come through the swamp. Yeah, side-on's pretty boring, and I've done 2 side-on shots recently of the Murmuring Man and the Stump. And I don't want to become known as side-on Matt. It's not a bad nickname. I could be alright with that. Okay, and maybe we just go really long cylinder here for the spear. Go local. This is the weird thing I think Maya doesn't have. You're basically playing around in local and global settings. local attaches it to the object so you can scale it along the axes of the object, and global does everything along the axes of the world. And the other two worlds you play in Basing and Blender is this one, which is the object mode, and then you push tab and you actually go into the editing of the object you've selected mode. And then when you've done some things, you might move some of these vertices around like that. Then you go back into object mode and your object's different. And that was, to me, the confusing part of Maya. That took me a while to wrap my head around. They have lots of different modes. I can't remember if Maya does, or how they approached it. So yeah, little block out there. Now let's solve this crocodile. See, his pose isn't very dynamic or anything at this point, but I've got him there, and it sort of comes down to how much do I need to push it once I've got a composition in mind. So this branch is actually also going to become the crocodile head. How big's this guy going to be? He's a giant croc. So bigger than a normal croc. And that's where this kid, this hunter, got in trouble. Because normally, at his age, you prove yourself by going out and hunting a normal crocodile. But this kid has got a bit of a, excuse me, a bit of a high impression of himself, and thought he could hunt old Shagu. I'm going Shagu at the moment. So he threw some spears, and old Shagu did not like that. So he's been chasing this kid elf across the swamp, and this is where they've ended up. So it is a good moral quandary. The ghost elf clearly attacked this creature. So maybe a nature-loving druid in the party might not want to try help the elf. Maybe he wants to let nature take its course. Okay, so we'll just say that's the head. Again, I'm not over-detailing this, because you'll see I've also stuffed up. It's because it's local, and this guy's the same as it's global, which makes stuff a little bit harder, because I have to guess some things. Okay. I do want his jaw open, of course, for that classic I'm an alligator about to eat you look. He's pretty huge at the moment. Maybe he's going to be a little bit smaller. Maybe there, that's all we need. Because that still would be considered, in the real world, a giant crocodile. Right? Right. Now, body. I'm going to steal this again just for the body. Maybe that curves there. Actually, it's a mistake to keep using this, because I've ruined it with how I've transformed it. That's all right. So it's pushing out of the water. See, there might be a better angle here, I think. And I could even have the party like standing over here on a little island. I want to see his chest and stuff. Add mesh cube. Give him some little arms out here. So yeah, this 3D method. See, if I go local on this, this is proper. So when I scale it, I can scale it where I want to. Yeah, I do this little 3D block out when I'm a little worried about composition. And a lot of times I'm worried about composition when I'm not going to do a simple sideways shot. It's my bread and butter, old sideways mat. But yeah, in this one, I'm going to give him quite thick arms, so because he's giant. He's a giant croc. That can be his hand. Put some claws there. Sort of biting into the... Ooh, it's looking dangerous. What if I globalize you guys? So I won't spend too long in 3D. This is just to get the basic idea down. I don't want to spend too long trying to get details and everything in here. I can do all of that when I paint. And yeah, this body will be more curved, which is cool. Just going to add in a line there. Sort of, oh yes, we get a nice curve. Maybe this, where's my rotation? Wait, what am I, oh, because I'm in the wrong. Okay. Okay. And now what I can do, I've got these other modes I can be in. This one makes everything disappear for some reason. Ah, I was just waiting. Okay, good. Because I haven't saved this yet. And with 3D software, you got to save all the time. But I don't want you guys to see my terrible file structure. Okay, so I've got some point lights at the moment. You can add a sunlight, which is cool. Where's he hanging out? That's the sun there. See if I rotate it. I'm going to get some shadows even. It's very strong, so we'll knock it down because this is in the swamp, of course. What do you reckon? 0.2? 3. Here we go. And this point light is casting its own shadow. I do like point lights. I usually put them all around the scene because otherwise you just get too much. Well, that's actually what the sunlight is doing. It's not that strong, is it? So we could go back to sunlight and grab this and just slide it. So maybe that's good. And yeah, I'll put a little bit of base colors down as well. I won't explain how to do this stuff, but oh, see? That was almost going to crash on me. I'm playing a dangerous game here, folks. Might have to show you my file structure. I think that's all I'll do with color. And yeah, I'm not even going to draw the adventuring party in there. I'll do that later because they'll be in the fog. Push back. We'll just give a glimpse. So yeah, we could have all sorts. I might still bring back this point light just to pale up the ghost elf a bit. Make it quite weak. 30. And then you can just sort of realize that I probably need to make it stronger than that. Okay. Now we might play with this pose a little, just because we're going to be quite close to him. Head on an angle. Maybe he's a lot lower here. Leg coming down. This one out here. And I still have to go out and find anatomy reference. Don't you worry about that. Because at the moment I'm just making up stuff. Right. Ooh, ooh. Might grab both. Global. So we can maybe come out. It's alright. And rotate this leg a little bit more dynamic. Maybe I'll have a little knobbly bit from the tree that is now maybe he should be leaning. Yeah. Then it should be, yeah, almost his back. Getting some edge lighting. Because that looks... Oh, there's so many different, you know, composition poses you could do in this. Get a heart attack every time I do something slightly looking like it's going to crash. I don't like this one now. This pose is too, you can't tell what it's doing. It's quite good there. And we could still, you know, grab a point light to lighten up some of this. I know, the other problem I've got is this is very vertical at the moment, and I want to do it this way. It's a good question though. Why do I want to do it this way? Maybe it could be a cool vertical shot. I like that. Because then I can have the spears sticking off him. I want him to have a bit of bleeding as well, this guy, so you know he's in trouble. Let's make that longer. Let's angle it slightly, like so, because I want to get this arm here up. Guys, I think I'm falling for this one. This pretty little picture has just wandered in and lit up the room. And it's got Matt ignoring all the other pretty pictures. Yeah, this could be pretty epic. Water coming off him. A couple of these spears sticking off. Maybe quite deep. Terrible throw, Ghost Elf. Look how far out that is. Let's have... This guy can't throw. Oh, imagine coming through his snout. I don't know if that makes sense. This will definitely put you more on the crocodile side if he's got a spear. It's gone right through him. I do like it on his snout. He's throwing it through his nose. I think there's something. Maybe it should be like that more. Oh, I thought it was sort of going. Hang on. Yeah. Bit of that. This arm will be close. The scales showing. Could we, if we go low enough, could we still get the party maybe in the background, just there? I think this is it, fellas. Okay, and then you're like, but all this crap, but you just push these off. Then all I don't even do a render. I just do a print screen. And this new thing tells me to do this instead of just printing the screen. And then I will go paste it. And again, I've made it way bigger than it was printed in the screen. I think I'm operating at a size of 4,000, which isn't huge. It's not crazy. But that also forces me to do my own. So I'm going to have the party pushing through here, swamp and stuff. This is the composition. Nowhere near the rule of thirds. I could be. You know, I could even... We're not here to play by the rules, so... But I could be like, almost like this. Lower it. Quite like that, to be honest. I mean, this rule of thirds isn't even accurate. So I have the party back here. They've just broken through and seen this scene. Swamp water there and there's people there. Oh my goodness. Whose side are we going to be on? That evil little ghost elf that's throwing a spear through this guy's nose? Or this poor croc? Shall we befriend him instead and ride him around the swamp? These are the questions you need to ask yourself when you step into a scene like this. Everyone goes for the owls, but do we know the full story of this? And yeah, they've pushed through here. There'll be trees and everything out here. Yep, this is cool. So this is as far as I'm going to stream today. I was just really testing. I think my mic's a little quiet. I've sort of boosted it. I'm talking loud, but we'll see how that goes. But anyway, this will pop up as a video to watch later. So if you are watching it, thank you very much for watching till the end. Let me know what you think of this composition, if you saw something else you preferred there in the many times I was rotating it. But yeah, the next stage is to go full into Photoshop now and turn this into a action-packed image. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode. Bye.